The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the holographic display flickered to life. Ambassador Jara of the Krellian Empire leaned forward, her crystalline eyes narrowing at the impossible readings streaming across the screen. "This cannot be accurate," she hissed, her translator rendering her clicks and whistles into standard galactic. "Run the scan again." Counselor Tevron, a hulking Vorthian whose species had conquered 17 star systems before joining the Council, studied the data with growing unease. "The signature is unmistakable. It's the Indomitable." A collective gasp rippled through the assembled delegates. The Indomitable, humanity's legendary supercarrier, had been lost 43 years ago during the Battle of Proxima Threshold. The engagement had been humanity's last desperate stand against the Devourers, a swarm intelligence that had consumed 12 sentient species before turning its attention to Earth. The battle had ended in catastrophic defeat. The Indomitable, carrying 30,000 souls and enough firepower to glass a planet, had vanished into a collapsing wormhole along with the Devourer's hive fleet. Most assumed both forces had been annihilated in the dimensional collapse. Humanity had never recovered. Their homeworld devastated, their fleet shattered. They had become refugees scattered across Council space, second-class citizens performing menial labor on alien worlds, their warrior heritage reduced to cautionary tales whispered in academy halls. "Where is it now?" asked Ambassador Jara, though she already knew the answer would complicate everything. "Approaching Council Station 7, Tevron replied grimly, "and it's broadcasting a distress signal." Inhuman, Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, her weathered face illuminated by the soft glow of screens that had been dark for over 4 decades. Around her, the skeleton crew worked with practiced efficiency, their movements synchronized despite their gray hair and lined faces. "Reactor output at 73%, reported Commander James Park, his voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. "We'll make it, Captain. Just barely." Elena nodded, her gaze fixed on the view screen where Council Station 7 grew larger with each passing moment. Behind them, space itself seemed to ripple and tear. The Devourers were coming through. They had spent 43 years in that hellish dimension, fighting, surviving, and learning. The wormhole hadn't destroyed them. It had trapped them in a pocket universe where time moved differently, where the Devourer's true nature became horrifyingly clear. The swarm wasn't mindless. It was calculating, ancient, and it had been preparing to breach into this dimension for millennia. "Captain," said Dr. Sarah Chen from the science station, her once dark hair now silver, "the Devourer Vanguard will emerge in 17 minutes. Council Station defenses won't hold for 5. "Then we buy them time," Elena said simply. "Helm, position us between the station and the breach point. Weapons, I want every railgun charged and every missile tube loaded. Engineering, divert all non-essential power to shields." The bridge crew exchanged glances. They were old now, their bodies worn by decades of impossible survival. The Indomitable herself was held together by ingenuity and desperation, her hull patched with Devourer technology they'd salvaged and repurposed. But they were still human, and humans had never learned how to quit. Aboard Council Station 7, panic had given way to organized evacuation. Ambassador Jara watched as civilian transports departed in a steady stream, but she knew they wouldn't all make it. The station housed 3 million souls from 24 species. "The human ship is hailing us," her aide announced, on screen. The face that appeared was that of an older human woman, her dark eyes carrying the weight of years beyond her physical age. When she spoke, her voice was firm, almost gentle. "Council Station 7, this is Captain Elena Vasquez of the UESS Indomitable. We are positioning ourselves to defend your station against the incoming Devourer fleet. We ask only one thing in return." "Name it," Jara said immediately. "When we bought you these 43 years ago, humanity was dying. We know our people have struggled in our absence, that they've been treated as refugees and outcasts. When this is over, if we succeed, I want your word that humanity will be granted full council membership. Not as supplicants, but as equals." Tevron's voice cut through the channel before Jara could respond. "Captain Vasquez, this is Counselor Tevron. You have my word, sworn on my ancestors. Should you hold against the Devourers, humanity will be welcomed as warriors and equals." Elena smiled, a fierce expression that reminded every alien watching why humans had once been feared. "Then let's remind the galaxy what humanity does best. Indomitable out." The devourers came through the breach like a plague of metal locusts, thousands of biomechanical horrors that had devoured civilizations beyond counting. They swarmed toward the station, their hunger palpable even across the void, and one aging supercarrier crewed by soldiers who refused to die quietly met them head-on. The Indomitable's railguns spoke first, sending depleted uranium rounds into the swarm at relativistic speeds. Each shot tore through dozens of Devourer units, but more kept coming. Missiles followed, their warheads modified with 4 decades of hard-won knowledge about Devourer vulnerabilities. "Shields at 40%, Park reported calmly as the swarm's return fire hammered their defenses. 30%. 20. Elena gripped her command chair, watching as the evacuation continued behind them. Just a few more minutes. That's all they needed. Shields failing. Hull breaches on deck 7 through 12. "Seal them off," Elena ordered. "All power to weapons. We're not done yet." The Indomitable burned in the darkness, a dying star that refused to be extinguished. Her crew, veterans of an impossible war fought in a dimension of nightmares, gave everything they had. When the guns overheated, they fired anyway. When the shields fell, they maneuvered with desperate skill, using the carrier's mass as a weapon. And slowly, impossibly, the Devourer advance faltered. By the time the Council's emergency response fleet arrived, the Indomitable was a wreck. Venting atmosphere, her hull fractured in 100 places, fires burning across her decks. But she was still there, positioned between the station and the breach, a broken shield that had held when it mattered most. Captain Elena Vasquez, still strapped into her command chair despite the decompression warnings flashing around her, smiled as she watched the last civilian transport clear the danger zone. "Humanity," she whispered into the dying comm system. "We're home." The galaxy would remember this day, the day humanity reminded them all why species that refused to surrender were the most dangerous of all. And